A Murder of Ghosts. Written and read by Evie is Evil. Chapter 11. Author's Notes. Sorry for not updating in a while. Holidays, you know? Exciting news, though. I made art for this fic that I posted at the beginning of Chapter 1. And a Happy New Year. Reader's notes from me. Just so you're aware. I don't know if I'll cover it. Yeah. This is kind of the end of what I've written up to so far. So you're probably going to have to wait for a new chapter. And wait a while for a new chapter. And then where I mention art for the fic, that is the cover art for this podfic. So you're not missing anything there. All right, now let's get on to the fic. It was the first day of summer. Danny was finally off from school, and today's agenda included a full day of visiting Robin. He was currently flying through the halls of Frostbite's cave system. As he approached Robin's room, he nearly ran into the Yeti doctor standing just outside the doors. "Careful there, young one," Frostbite tells Danny while steadying him by the shoulders. "Sorry," Danny says. "What are you doing here? Well, outside Robin's room. This is your cave." "I was seeing if he was ready to have his casts removed from his legs," Frostbite informs him. "Would you like to join me?" "Yes." Danny is really excited for Robin. His legs were one of the last things keeping him bedbound. If Frostbite clears him today, this means Robin is free to roam. Danny practically launched himself into Robin's room. "Guess who's breaking you out today?" Danny sing-songs. "That's if I get cleared," Robin tells him, looking up from his book. Frostbite enters behind Danny and crosses the room to pull out some scanner. "You most certainly will be," Danny tells him, choosing to float crisscross over the medical cot. Frostbite pulls over his scanner and starts surveying Robin's legs. The boy doesn't seem concerned at all, which seems leagues better than the medical anxiety he had when he first showed up, close to 2 months ago. After a few minutes of Frostbite scanning and grumbling to himself, he clears Robin for the removal of his casts. The doctor makes quick work of removing them with a small saw. "You're clear to go, young Robin." With the casts now off his feet, Robin swung his legs over the edge of his cot. Danny walked over and offered a hand out to steady Robin while he got on his feet. The younger boy wobbled a bit, grabbing Danny's arms to stabilize himself, but he ended up standing pretty sturdily. "You want help walking?" Danny asks. "Nah." Robin lets go of Danny's hands and takes a few shaky steps forward on his own. He then proceeds to slowly walk to the wall and back, testing out his underused legs. "So, what now?" Robin asks. Danny grabs the colorful uniform that had been resting next to Robin's bed and unfurls it. A grin slowly spreads over the younger boy's face. "So, what are we doing?" Jason asks. He had changed into his Robin suit after a month or two of wearing a hospital gown, and it felt quite good. "We are going to find your lair," Danny tells him. "My what?" Jason was currently flying alongside Danny in the green void, and somewhere behind them was the Far Frozen. He had gotten better at the whole flying, floating thing, but he still needed that initial push of Danny's help to get him started. "Your lair, it's like your home here. Everyone has one, even me," Danny tells him while dragging him along. "How do you know where it is?" Jason asks the older boy. Danny just gives him a mischievous smirk and stops. "I don't know where it is, but you do." Again, with that cryptic nonsense. I don't think I'll ever get used to him doing that. Jason rolls his eyes under his mask. "Yes, of course, the guy who has been in the hospital for the entire time he's existed here." Jason throws his hands up and slowly circles around to make a point. "Knows where the magical lair is." Standing a foot behind him is a purple door. It doesn't stand out in any way from the others he's seen, but something about it begs Jason to open it. He whips back around to face Danny. "You're an asshole." Danny just laughs back with his smug grin still in place. "So, are you going to check it out?" Danny asks him. Jason just grumbles and turns back around to face the door. "You can never be straightforward about these things, can you?" he mumbles under his breath. Shaking out his limbs, he takes a deep breath before grasping the handle. Broken fingers, grasping the cool metal of the handle. Click. The lock engaged. Red numbers slowly tick, tick, ticking down. Jason blinks the image out of his mind. He was okay. He wasn't in the warehouse. Cool fingers gently rest on his shoulder. Danny was here. He was all right. "You good?" Danny whispered. Yeah, I'm fine." Jason breathed in and out a couple times. Hesitantly, he pushed down on the door handle. Turning, click. Jason heaved out a sigh of relief. That wasn't the click of a door hitting a lock, but of a door handle actually opening. He looked back, meeting Danny's eyes. The older boy gave him a reassuring nod, so he turned back and swung the door open. Inside was an elaborate library. It was suspiciously reminiscent of the Manor's own library. Tall pane windows lined the left wall, peering out into Alfred's rose garden. Rows upon rows of opulent bookcases stretched up into the high rafters. Jason stepped in slowly, taking in the familiar bookcases and rolling ladders. In the corner next to the first window was Jason's favorite lounge chair. It was a sun-faded red love seat, a robin-patterned throw blanket draped along the back of the chair. Jason's eyes light up with stars upon spotting his chair. He leaped over to it, throwing himself down on the cushions. The sun outside was currently positioned just right to cast its warming rays over whoever sat on the couch. He giggled, soaking up the sun. If he were a cat, he would probably be purring right now. He sighed out a giddy little laugh and let his eyes drift over the room. He breathes in the smell of old books and lingering hints of tea. It is almost exactly like he remembers, the only noticeable difference being that the ceiling is slightly elevated from his memories. "Hey, Robin, did you know you got a loft back here?" Danny called from further back in the library. "When did he get back there?" Jason lifted himself from the couch and flipped off the back. He cartwheeled over to where Danny was standing, looking up at a rolling ladder. The ladder was a little taller than all the others, and led up to an upper level. Jason grabbed a rung and began hauling himself up. The manor back home didn't have a loft in the library, so he was going to find out where this led. Slapping a hand over the ledge, he heaved himself up into the loft. In the left corner was a bed with red sheets. Small lantern-like lights hung above it. The entire rest of the loft was a kitchen. A fridge with Wonder Woman-themed magnets sat on one end of an L-shaped counter space. In the relative center was a gas burner stove, while a sink rested in the middle of the shorter leg of counters. Framing the L kitchen was a large island with bar stools along one side. Jason's eyes widened, and he bound over before inspecting every nook and cranny of the kitchen, like a kid in a candy store. The fridge had a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, meats, and cheeses. The upper cabinets held cups, bowls, and plates. Digging around in the cupboards and drawers, he was able to find any cooking utensil or pot he could ever need. Jason's already wide grin widened, and he pulled open a cupboard to find an entire rack of spices. He let out another giggle. Alfred would love this. "Wow, that is certainly a big kitchen." Jason swiveled around to see Danny leaning against the loft railing, watching him. "Do you enjoy cooking?" he asked. Yeah, Alfred. I told you about him. He taught me everything about the kitchen. I find it kind of relaxing to do. It's something to get my mind off things." Jason hopped up to sit crisscross on the island while he spoke to Danny. "So, do you have any plans now that you're free from hospital jail?" Danny jests. Jason contemplates. He really has no plans. After all, what do the dead even do? Not really." He switches to swinging his feet off the countertop edge. "What do you have planned? It's summer now, right?" Danny has sort of been his only lifeline here. Lifeline. Telling him stories, bringing him books, being his only form of human contact and entertainment. Well, mostly I was going to hang out with Tucker and Sam. Hey, that reminds me, I was going to introduce you to them. Danny straightens up from leaning against the railing. Here, take this. He pulls something out of his pocket and tosses it in Jason's direction. Jason catches the thing. It's a pretty old-looking flip phone. He inspects it for a second before flipping it open with his thumb. It boots up with a little jingle. A pixelated logo slowly fills the screen. Once booted up, he navigates through the small device rapidly. Most of it is a wiped-clean phone, but in the contacts there are 4 numbers already inserted. Danny, Jazz, Sam, Tucker. He knows all of the contacts vaguely. A text notification pops up. He navigates to the Messages app. Tucker. Nice to meet you, Robin. Winky face. Robin. Stalker, huh? Tucker. You say stalker, I say eager friend. Smiley face. Is your friend always like this? Jason asks, holding up the phone. Danny looks up from his own and smirks. Tucker sent you a greeting message the second you opened your phone? Pretty much. Jason grumbles, pouting down at the device. He would have to check the thing for tampering. Bat paranoia, am I right? He finds a seam along the side and digs his finger under it, prying the back plate off. Inside, instead of a normal battery, is a glowing green one. Danny? Oh. The elder looks a little surprised that he so readily pried apart the device. Tuck modified the phone to work in the ghost zone. The battery is infused with ectoplasm. Jason just poked around the inside a little bit before slapping the back plate back in place. He knew a bit about electronics and stuff, but he was more of an engineering kind of guy. He could take apart a bike like no one's business. The tech stuff was more suited to Babs, or Bruce, or even Dick. Hacking, well, he was taught it, was never his strong suit. He'd search the phone for trackers and bugs later. Right now, he has a library to explore. And that is the end of Chapter 11. Author's notes. I have been considering making a podfic for this fic. That was the main point of the art, but we'll see if I actually do. I want to at least give it a try. Still on an irregular schedule, sorry. I'm heading back to my university in a week, but the 3 weeks after I get back, I'm working on a labor-intensive group project, so I probably won't have much time to write. And reader's notes. Huzzah! Look where making that podfic got me. We're up to where I have written for this. I have an ending sequel fic planned, but like the middle bit, I want to write the middle bit before I post the end bit, so I'm like, I just need to write, but I've been distracted with podfics. Yeah. Anyways, this fic inspired me to start podficking, which now you can see all the other stuff on my channel. Yay! This is a great new hobby, which I really do enjoy. Yeah. So that's going to be the end of this podficking this series for now, until I write more. So replacing in the time slot schedule of this fic, I'm starting a new fic. Yeah, I'm reading How to Train Your Mers. Yeah, How to Train Your Mers by Jube514 and Sal Paradise Lost. So that's going to be replacing this time slot, and you should really check it out once it comes out. In 2 weeks, I believe. Unless I decide to do some mermaid thing, because it is mermaid themed. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. It's been a journey. This will be awkward when I post chapter 12 at some point. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and bye!